All right. So, our second big topic today is about a new paper that's out that actually proposes a framework for classifying the capabilities and the behavior of what we call artificial general intelligence. And we'll talk about the definition there in a second. But we're really talking about broadly AI systems that are smarter than humans at a wide variety of tasks. Now, this is notable not only for the topic around AGI, but because this paper is co-authored by Shane Legg, who is one of the co-founders of DeepMind, a major AI lab. Now, DeepMind is part of Google after being acquired way back in 2014. And Legg's profile on X actually lists him as the chief AGI scientist at Google DeepMind. Now, the paper's topic is important because people like Legg believe it is not only possible to achieve AGI, but it also could be coming very soon. Legg just gave an interview on the Dwarkesh Podcast where he said he expects AGI to be achieved as soon as 2028. So this paper goes through a possible system for evaluating just how advanced an AGI system could be when we get it and classifying the capabilities of current systems basically on a scale like you might evaluate a self-driving car. What level of intelligence and autonomy do current AI systems have? So in the mind of people like Legg, this is not speculative or science fiction. It's a serious attempt to classify and evaluate better than human systems that we could have very, very soon. So, Paul, to kick this off, why are people like Legg trying to build this framework to evaluate AGI systems?
Yeah, so I mean, this is a topic I've been fascinated by for a long time. It was a topic that I would say was a little bit fringe and even taboo in the AI research world until a few years ago, and it was a topic that I generally avoided bringing up within our stuff because I just didn't think people were really ready for it. Because until people experienced any form of AI, the idea of AGI was just too science fiction for everyone, I think. So the reason it matters is you touched on Shane is a major player here. He coined the term AGI back by around 2006, 2007 for a series of papers on a book that was put together on a series of papers about AI. And he founded DeepMind with Demis Hassabis, who we've talked about many times, who's the CEO of Google DeepMind, and Mustafa Suleyman, who is now the co-founder and CEO of Inflection AI. So Shane is a major player in AI. We don't talk about him as much as some of the other founders, but he is a key player here. So I think what's happening is AGI is becoming much more mainstream. So you're going to hear that term all the time. If you watched the OpenAI event where they introduced GPTs and everything else last Monday, when Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, came on stage and did his somewhat awkward, like 2 minutes on stage with Sam, when Satya went to leave, Sam said, "I look forward to building AGI together," to Satya. So all the major research labs have been pursuing AGI for years, and it seems like they generally agree that it is within reach. So for us, the challenge has been trying to explain AGI in a cohesive way when none of these labs seem to agree with what it is. So the way I have explained it, and I was kind of going through their paper today to try and see, like, are they on the same page as we've been, is like right now AI is capable of very specific things. Like, it's trained to do very specific tasks. And in some cases, it's just better than humans. So like AI is better than humans at chess. So it's a narrow application of AI, but it's superhuman at that application. And so when we look at the future impact of AI on knowledge work in particular, we think about the idea of cognitive tasks, tasks that require thinking, reasoning, understanding, language. And so AGI is the idea that you have these general purpose AIs that are near or at human level in many cognitive tasks. So you have a single AI that can win at chess, can beat the grandmaster at chess, and it can also maybe write a research paper. And then it can jump over and do a Sudoku puzzle. And then it can take a medical exam. And then it can go get, 1600 on the SAT exam. So a single AI that is generally really, really good or above human level at almost every cognitive task. That's how I've thought about AGI for years. And it seems like that jives with what they're talking about. So in the paper, and I know we'll dig into kind of their different levels of AI, they say AGI is an important and sometimes controversial concept in computing research used to describe an AI system that is at least as capable as a human at most tasks. So the challenge I have seen, and again, I've listened to probably every interview that Demis, Mustafa, Shane, Dario Amodei, like I listen to podcasts nonstop where there's interviews with these people. And anytime you ask them to define AGI, I have yet to hear one of them say in like 10 words, this is what it is. They're always like, it's a tricky thing to define. And so I think the value of this paper is to start to put some hopefully universal guardrails around what exactly is it so that we can measure our progress toward it. I know I listened to an interview, I think it was Sam Altman just like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, where it was the same deal. It's like, well, what are the milestones we should watch for? And I think generally what you should expect is there isn't going to be this moment. And actually the Dwarkesh podcast with Shane is phenomenal. Like I would highly recommend listening to it. I think what seems like it's universally accepted at this time is there isn't going to be this moment where a press conference is held that says we did it. We achieved AGI because X happened. They see it as this progressive thing where over time you'll start to look at a bunch of signals and say, I think it's there. I think you mentioned the Sparks of AGI paper from Microsoft after GPT-4 came out, where they're like, it seems like there's some elements of AGI within ChatGPT. Like we're starting to see GPT-4 showing signs of this. But again, and from the outside, like, what does that mean, showing signs of it? Does it mean we're almost there? Does it mean we're not there? So I think the significance here is AGI is going to play a major role in the future of humanity, the future of knowledge work, the future of business society. What is it and when do we get there are really important for us to prepare for it. So I've advised a number of like technology companies and some other companies that they really need like an AGI Horizons team within their organization, because I think you need some people who are looking beyond the 1 to 2 years of what's generative AI going to be when we have GPT-5 or Google Gemini. And they need to start looking and saying, what's the world going to look like? What is our business going to look like? What's our industry going to look like when AGI is here? And Shane and others seem to think it's within this decade. OpenAI certainly would fall under the umbrella of thinking it's possible within this decade. So it does seem more sci-fi because it kind of is, but that doesn't mean it's any less real, or that the probability of it being achieved is any less just because it seems really abstract at the moment. If we rewound 2 years ago and I said, hey, AI is going to be able to write everything, you're going to be able to build your own tools, like you'd have thought I was crazy. And yet that's exactly where we are. And so I think AGI is going to follow a similar pattern. Right now, it seems really weird and abstract to think about. But a year from now, 2 years from now, it may be a very real thing we're dealing with in society.
I'd encourage everyone to take a stab, perhaps with AI assistance, at reading the full paper. It's about 19 pages, much less once you remove the citations. It's actually dense, but not super technical. It's understandable for anyone. But on page 6 of the paper, they actually have a nifty table that talks through their levels of AGI. Now, I'd recommend you go check it out for yourself, but just really briefly, they kind of look at it as rows and columns. So imagine rows where you have the level of performance that they rate AI systems on. Level 0, no AI. Level 1, emerging, which is equal to or somewhat better than an unskilled human. And they go up multiple levels all the way to level 5, superhuman, outperforms 100% of humans. Now, the key here is what would be in the columns. They split up AI systems into narrow systems, which are clearly scoped tasks or sets of tasks that the AI can do. So you talked about AI playing chess would fall into a narrow AI system. And then general AI, which is able to perform a wide range of non-physical tasks, including metacognitive abilities like learning new skills. Now, on this rubric, Legg and the team have really only identified emerging AGI in level 1, so equal to or somewhat better than an unskilled human. And they would classify things like ChatGPT, Bard, and Llama 2 in that category. Now, the other levels of competency, level 2 through 5, they say, look, we do not have AGI today that is competent, better than 50 in the 50th percentile of skilled adults, expert 90th percentile skilled adults, virtuoso 99th percentile, and superhuman outperforms 100% of people. So it does seem, Paul, like they have made an effort here to demystify a little bit of what we're talking about when we talk about AGI. And when you look at this table, do you agree that you start to see, oh my gosh, I understand now why they're saying they think we could get to some pretty significant AGI in the next, say, 10 years?
Yeah, I think, again, download the doc, go look at it. It'll make a lot more sense when you're looking at it. The more time I spend with this chart, the more I like it, because I think it actually makes it really understandable. So like level 3 expert narrow AI, Grammarly would be an example. Grammarly is like better at spelling and grammar checking than 90% of humans who do that task for a living. But when we look about general intelligence, there's nothing there. If you've watched the movie AlphaGo, which is the documentary about, DeepMind's AlphaGo system beating world Go champion, they put that at level 4 virtuoso, meaning it's better than 99% of people who are skilled at that task. And then they go into like level 5 AlphaFold, which predicts the folding of proteins at a superhuman level. So I love that they like show examples of what they mean at that level. Like what would be an example of level 3? So I think it's really good. I think this will be very helpful moving forward. And I do believe that, by this time next year, AGI will be a much wider understood concept, and that it'll be in your life, in your business life, in your personal life, it'll start having much more meaning and application. Because I am, from everything I've read and learned and heard, I don't see any reason why AGI isn't a viable thing by the end of this decade. Like it just does seem we're on that path.